Okay, normally at this point in the lesson, because it really isn't a whole lot of steps, students some will catch on faster than others. What I normally do is I will allow you to start working on you, try these on your own. Okay, so I will give you a minute. I'll pause the video. Okay, I'm going to keep rolling. I'm going to let you pause right now and try these on your own, and then we'll talk about them. The last one we're going to do, I will definitely work with you together. Okay, so go ahead, pause right now. Okay, so hopefully you went ahead and stopped the video and try these on your own. All right, so remember, you're going to have this chart in your notebook, okay, and you divide up the perfect square chart. So we're working with 40, okay, so in this case, 40. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and get this here. All right. So 40 falls between 49 and 36. Some of you may already recognize what perfect square goes into 40. Others of you, it'll take a little bit to get the hang of this, but you just divide up the chart till you get to that whole number. And 40 divided by 4, and it is 10. Okay, so you go ahead and rewrite it. So that perfect square always goes first. Square root of 4 is 2. The other factor just simply stays in the square root, and that is your simplified answer. Okay, as long as you went up the chart, you should have gotten it correct the first time. All right, let's look at this next one. I'm going to go ahead and do like this. Okay. So 243. 243, I'm starting here. Okay. Now, you're probably saying, well, I just want to jump around. You probably could start with 196 or even 169 because you know that 225 is not going to go into that number. Okay. That's the only concession I'm going to make that you could do to not to skip around, but I would prefer you not skip around at all, especially you're not there yet. So 43 divided by 121. All right, so, and you see, you might have skipped all the way to the beginning and you would have missed that the perfect square that goes into 243 is 81. All right, so square root of 81 times the square root of 3. Square root of 81 is 9. Then the other factor just follows. Okay? All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to get this out of the way. All right. When you have a number and a variable like that, touching, okay, that means multiplication, right? Same concept. I mean, think about what we're doing. We're talking multiplication right here, right? So same concept. This is -6 times the square root of 20, technically, okay? So what you're going to do here is you're going to leave that that square root of 6 outside. Leave it alone. Bring it down. Worry about this. Okay. Worry about simplifying 20. All right. So some of you maybe already know what factor goes into it, but I'm going to go ahead and just show you dividing. I started with 16, then 20 divided by 9. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Okay, so square root of 4 times the square root of 5. Okay, so what you do here, remember we just said this is -6 times the square root of 20. So what you're going to do is negative 6 times, simplify this, okay? Square root of 4 is 2. Then you just bring down that other factor. You will have to take care of this, okay? You have to indicate that we're multiplying here. Otherwise, it'll look like negative 62. We don't want that, all right? We want to multiply. So your final answer is negative 12 square root of 5. This particular problem is the one whenever you're in my math lab that will give students the most trouble, okay? They forget. So come back, watch the video, or ask for help. Okay. Make sure everyone got it. All right. Okay. So now you're going to have some easy ones. All right. Every now and then you will have an easy one. So we have the square root of 25. Okay. That's simple. 5. Here we have a fraction. I don't want you freaking out. Okay. Very simple. Break it up. Square root of 1 over the square root of 9. Each part of the fraction, okay, is its own problem. So the square root of 1 is 1. The square root of 9 is 3. Okay, 1/3. Now, think back. You probably see 49 and you're like, oh, I saw that on the chart. Yep. Think about what a perfect square is. A perfect square is any number that when multiplied times itself, that product, that's a perfect square, okay? So 49, or go back to 25, okay? Let's not even talk about this one right now. Go back to 25. We knew the answer was 5 because 5 times 5 gives you 25. A number times itself, 5 times 5 gives you 25. Here, what number times itself gives you 49, negative 49. Think about that for a second, okay? A positive number times a positive number will always give you a positive. A negative number times a negative number will always give you a positive. Whenever I ask this whole group, students always get it. They know positive times positive equals positive. Negative times negative equals negative. Where they mess up is they think the answer is negative 7. That's what they'll say. But think about that. Negative 7 times negative 7 is a positive 49. Positive 7 times negative 7 gives you a negative 49. Those are two different numbers on the number line, okay? One's on one side of 0, one's on the other. They are on separate sides of the number line. So there is no number, okay, that will give you negative 49. There is no real number. Okay, there's no real solution. All right, so this one here, this plus over minus or positive over negative, that's plus or minus, okay? We don't use it a lot. We don't use the negative form of the answer in geometry because when we use this, as I mentioned in the beginning of the lesson, we're going to use this in distance, okay? Well, when you measure distance, you're not measuring negative. So your answer is always going to be positive. But when you're in Algebra 2, you can have two possible solutions, okay? Because think about it. A positive times a positive gives you a positive. A negative times a negative gives you a positive. So there are two solutions. We just never use the negative because we're measuring distance in geometry. In Algebra 2, you could have two possible solutions. So that's what this stands for, positive or negative. Square root of 225 would be plus or minus 15. Okay, it's the same thing, and it's just read as plus or minus.